Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel at Unicorns and Typewriters. My name is Skylar and I'm back with another exciting booktube video and sort of life update. So today I wanted to talk about what books I am currently reading. I know that I've been posting a lot of K-pop videos recently, and I don't want you all to think that I'm not going to post book-themed videos anymore. That was never really my intention. Right now I'm just working a lot, and the K-pop videos are just super easy for me to film and edit, whereas these types of videos where I am in them take a little more time and composition and makeup and general confidence and energy, because sometimes I just don't feel like being in front of a camera. Maybe that's normal for someone who didn't go into drama or acting or whatever, but anyway. Regardless, I wanted to update you all on what I am reading, and then if you're interested, also a general life update, just so you guys know why my life is so chaotic right now. I also do have a few really positive life updates, I hope. Promising possibility type life updates, so we'll see. But yeah, I wanted to talk about what books I'm currently reading. So this is just the slipcover for it, but I am still finishing up Slasher Girls and Monster Boys. It is stories selected by April Genevieve Tukolk, or actually, I just looked up how to say her name properly, and I believe it is Tuholke. Regardless, this anthology, Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, is so good. I only have 2 stories left, so I really am almost done. I've been taking it to work with me, which is why I don't have the slipcase on it. It is in my work bag, and I just don't feel like unpacking that bag. So I'm just showing you the slipcase because it's more exciting. The underneath, the regular part of the book is just red anyway, so you can't even really tell what it is. But yeah, these stories are super spooky. They're really inspiring me as a writer. It's funny because I used to not really like short stories that much, but I found that they really inspire me as a writer. So that's something interesting that I need to keep in mind and try to read more short stories because they really do get my brain kind of turning and inspired. And so far, there's been some really, really good ones in here, and there hasn't really been one that I didn't enjoy. They were all creepy. They were all good. Overall, I'm really excited about this, and I'll maybe talk about it a bit more once I fully finish it. But yeah, right now I'm just super excited about it, and I'm enjoying it a lot. The other book that I am currently reading right now is The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. This is just the book, but you can see on the spine. I do like to take my slip covers off while I'm reading so that I don't mess them up, bend them up, crease them up, whatever, because especially for my Maggie Stiefvater books, I do have signed versions, and this one is doodled in. They're I got them from a bookstore in Virginia that does the signed book plates, and then on top of that, this specific one, the last book in the series, I ordered right when it came out, so I got this little original doodle by her. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but obviously I like to try to take good care of them and not ruin the slipcases. So I'm really excited to be on the last book of this series because I definitely got kind of discouraged in the middle. I really have hardly started it though, so I really need to keep reading and get more into this. The third book that I am currently reading, because I have no self-control, is The Places I've Cried in Public by Holly Bourne. This author is from the UK, and it is kind of hard to get this book in the States. It took me a while to find it, but I finally did find it online and was able to order it. I had heard some really good and interesting things about this book, and it felt like something that I would really relate to and find to be a healing read. So I'm really hoping it does that for me because that's what I want. I also think it's gonna tear my heart out of my chest and stomp on it and leave me sad and upset. But on top of enjoying a good story and enjoying good, interesting characters, I also just really enjoy books that make me feel something, anything strong, and that does include sadness. I do think that this book is going to make me feel sad. It already kind of has, and I'm only I don't know, less than a fourth into it. But it is about a girl named Amelie, and she falls for someone that is not very good for her. And we actually start the book after the events take place that are not good for her. And so the little kind of caption at the top of this, it looked like love, it felt like love, but this isn't a love story. On the front, Laura Bates is quoted saying it's a powerful, vital gut punch. And I believe that. I think this book's going to be really powerful. I've heard really good reviews about it, so I'm really excited to read it. Makes me feel a lot because I also lived in England for a year. It was a great year as far as getting my master's degree and meeting some wonderful people, but I also had some really negative experiences there, and I feel like I already relate really hardcore to what the main character is going from, even though my situation was obviously different because I was a foreigner, so that kind of added to it. But she's British, she lives in England, but the main character has just like moved to a new area in England, so it's still got a lot of those freshly moved, being the new person, being the outsider kind of vibes to it, and I'm just relating really hard. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm really excited to feel all the feels, because yeah. So those are the books that I'm really like currently reading. I know that if I do a monthly wrap up, I'm gonna mention them again, so part of me like didn't want to make this video, but I also like just don't have a lot new to share. I thought maybe by now I would have a book haul for you all, but I just don't have one yet. I'm saving and I'm trying to like be frugal and I'm trying not to spend a lot, so it's really hard. It's hard to have a booktube channel sometimes because I just want to buy things because I feel like that's what people like. They like to see things bought, and they like to see new books, and they like to see book hauls, and they like to see new K-pop albums and all of that. And I have bought some K-pop albums. That is something I bought recently, but I feel a lot of pressure, I guess, sometimes to be spending money for this channel. It's not too much pressure because I already just want to like buy books all the time, every day of my life. That hasn't really changed. But it's also hard because sometimes I feel like I won't get new subscribers and I won't get new views if I don't buy things. And that doesn't feel great. So that's something I'm dealing with on a personal level. But I think I'm doing okay. I haven't felt too pressured so far. Just like I've talked about it before, is that like if I had a better space to film in and I had a whole room full of bookshelves and I had this and that, then people would like my channel more and more people would watch my videos. And I think that's true in a lot of ways. All of the biggest booktubers have like walls of bookshelves. Everyone on Bookstagram who has the most followers have like an entire library of bookshelves, an entire room filled with bookshelves, and I just don't have the space for that right now. So maybe one day I'll have it. Maybe I'll see my subscribers like shoot way up if I have that. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, for now, I'm just trying to have fun with this channel. I'm just enjoying myself. I've been really enjoying filming the K-pop unboxing videos. That's just a lot of fun for me, and I hope that a lot of you are enjoying those, and I hope if you're not really into those but you still like my book content, that you'll still stick around for my book content, because I'm still going to be doing that. And this little update just kind of helped me feel motivated to get through these books and to read some new books so that I have more to share with you at the end of the month when I do my monthly wrap up. But there is a book that I have already finished reading that I didn't mention in this video because I don't want to tell you guys all the books that I'm going to talk about in my monthly wrap up. Basically, my life update, I don't want to get like too personal on this channel, but I was working 2 different part-time jobs. I was working 50 to 60 hour weeks for the last month. I had worked a part-time retail job for 8 months this year, starting back in March when I also started this channel, and I hated every second of it. I'm not gonna lie, not this channel. I love this channel. I hated every second of that job, and the hours, sometimes it actually was technically a full-time job, but they made sure to never give me enough hours consecutively that it would become a full-time job. So they basically avoided giving me benefits or having to give me a raise or any of that. It was a very stressful situation. I was treated I was very replaceable and just basically treated like trash, which is how a lot of retail jobs treat their employees. So that is nothing new. I got another job at the beginning of October. I ended up getting a second part-time job. I cut back at the retail job and I started what was essentially like a receptionist job. And that job I liked a whole heck of a lot better. The thing is that I was working like over 30 hours there, and then I was still working almost 20 hours at the retail job though. So basically I was doing 50-hour weeks. There was one week that I did a 60-hour week. It was kind of insanity, and it was very frustrating to be working 60 hours, especially those weeks, where I knew I was working well over what would be the hours for a full-time job, but I was working at a very low paid rate, and I was also working with no benefits whatsoever. That was really difficult and stressful, and that was all of last month, all of October. So if I seemed a little lackluster in my videos or stressed out or not as excitable as usual, or as you noticed, I started doing more K-pop videos and not being in my videos as much, it was because it was just a really hard month, and it was sad because October is my favorite time of year. Halloween is my favorite holiday, and I just really didn't get to enjoy it this year because I was working 50 to 60 hour weeks and just suffering, basically. So at the very end of October, I was offered a full-time position by the job where I was working as a receptionist, which was such a nice thought. It was also a little stressful because, you know, it meant a big change. It meant retraining for a new job for the third time this year because it's not the same as the receptionist job. It was actually a move to a different position. And I don't know that I really want to go into it that much, but it is generally similar to a reception job, but it's more specialized and it's in a particular part of the company that I wasn't working with before. It's the same company, but just like a different sector, if that makes any sense. So I'm working with different people. It is technically a different job title. I am using some of the information I learned as the receptionist, working the receptionist for a month, but I literally was still training to be the receptionist when I switched to this new job. So it's been a lot to handle. It's the third job I'm training for this year, which is kind of crazy when I think about it. It's also positive because working 8 months at a very dead-end retail job, I really felt like this year was going nowhere when I got the receptionist job, and I thought, okay, for a while I'm just going to do 2 part-time jobs and I'm just going to really push myself and I'm going to make as much money as I can, even though I still was not making very much. I guess it felt like an improvement, but it also didn't. It felt like my life was just getting harder and harder, and I was working more and more, and nothing was really coming of it because neither job really was offering me the space to grow. And so when I was offered the full-time job, I could not resist it. I had some misgivings about it. I still do, honestly, and I've been working it now for 2 weeks. I'm sort of still training. They've kind of thrown me into it, so I'm kind of like training as I go, and it's pretty stressful, and I know it's going to become more stressful the more responsibility that is put on me, but it is a full-time job, so I'm finally able to just work 40 hours a week, which is less than, 50 to 60 hours, and I also get some full-time benefits, which is really nice because I've never gotten that before. Because I was offered this full-time position, I was able to leave my part-time retail job finally after 8 months. I can't even believe I was there for 8 months when I think about how terrible that job was and how horribly all of my managers treated me. I am so happy that I finally was able to leave that job. It was a harder decision to switch jobs within the new company that I'm working for. It was hard to leave that receptionist job to move to this new position because I really liked the receptionist job, but it's also a relief to have a full-time job and to feel like I can start being more independent and like as independent as I've wanted to be for a very long time. It gives me a lot more financial freedom, and I get to do exciting things like look at apartments and look for new spaces to live in and think about getting a pet and like stuff like that I just thought was so far out of reach just like a month ago. It felt so far out of reach. It's still hard because even with this, even with a full-time job, even with a pay raise, even with benefits, it still feels like I don't make enough to have everything I want in life, and it still feels like apartments are so expensive. Paying rent is going to be such a big portion of my paycheck. It's still really scary and stressful. And so that's kind of like what I'm going through now, just trying to like figure out how to be a full-time worker and also like still be myself, I guess, and still find time for the things that make me happy, like this YouTube channel and reading and art and being creative. And I feel like I do have more time now, but I'm trying to stay positive and look at pictures of animals for adoption and just focus on things like that. Like, I can finally have a pet if I want. I currently am living in a shared space. I can't have a shedding animal where I am right now, and I've always wanted a cat, and I've been thinking a lot about getting a cat if I'm able to move out, so I'm mostly just like looking at pictures of kittens all day and cats that are for adoption from rescue centers, and it's really exciting to think that I could have my own pet and my own apartment and things that I've wanted for years and haven't felt like I could do. You know, like I lived independently for a year in England when I lived abroad. Well, I got my master's degree, and I lived away independently in apartments with a lot of roommates when I was in college, undergraduate college in the States. It's just, yeah, it's exciting because I feel like I'm finally getting to a point where I can start living the life that I really want, and I hope that that will encourage me to be more creative, and it'll give me the energy and the freedom to be more creative and spend more time writing. This year's been really hard. I spent last year writing and getting a master's degree in writing, and this year I spent just basically struggling to work enough to be able to afford to live, and then basically stressing out about the pandemic, losing people that I love, and losing friendships, and it's been not a great year for anyone, and I totally get that. It's not for anyone, but that's not a very exciting life update. But I guess the exciting part about it is that I might finally be able to have the space that I've always wanted. My filming space might change, so we'll see what happens. I hope that it's all for the positive, and hopefully I'll start writing again. I mean, that's what I really want. That's what I want more than anything, is to feel like myself again. That's what this year has really taken away from me. I haven't really spoken to my writing group that much this year, even because I was embarrassed to tell them that I didn't really do much writing, and I feel terrible about it because they're all like really, really nice people, and I want to be in their writing group, but it's been a difficult year, and I couldn't write. When you get so weighed down by life and all the negativity and just having to be unhappy all the time because your job makes you unhappy and your environment generally is making you unhappy, it's really hard to be creative, and it's really hard to write. It's really hard to express yourself. You have to create a positive space in order to grow and be creative, and I feel like that's finally within my reach again, and that is so exciting. I just have to make it happen. But that also requires me to keep the job that I have, keep the full-time job that I only started 2 weeks ago, that I'm still training in, that I still sometimes feel incompetent in. I mean, I probably am overqualified for this job, and there shouldn't be a problem with me keeping it, but there's just always that anxiety of, what if I sign on to rent an apartment and I lose this job? What if it doesn't work out? It's so hard. It's a high stress job, and I keep having coworkers say things that are very negative, like, oh, she's not gonna make it very long, and oh, she won't be here for long, and oh, and this is such a high stress job, just don't let it get to you. Like, things like that start to really build up my anxiety. The job itself hasn't really bothered me that much yet. I guess I'm tougher than they think I am, and I look younger than I really am. Everyone always thinks I'm like 10 years younger than I am, but I don't know. So my life is like really hanging in a weird balance right now. I feel like where things could really change for the better, or things could end up staying exactly the same or even getting worse. Yeah, so let's keep talking about books and K-pop albums, because that is what brings me joy. And let's hope that in the very near future, I'm in a new space. And I mean, I can only hope that sometime in the next couple months, I am showing you all a tour of my new apartment, or showing you all a tour of a new bookshelf in my new apartment, or filming a video about my new pet cat. I don't know. I really hope these things happen. So this is kind of a weird video because basically I'm talking about the books I'm in progress reading and the things that are in progress in my life, and it's all super stressful but also kind of hopeful, and I hope that you are all doing well, and I hope that you're staying safe because this pandemic is not over and the world is a very scary, anxiety-inducing place right now, but I hope that you all can find joy in things. I hope you find joy in this channel. Joy in books, joy in K-pop, joy in positive, happy thoughts and things. And yeah, I probably won't do a lot of life updates like this. The next one you would probably see from me is if I do end up switching my space for filming. But I just wanted to do this once just so you all know I haven't completely disappeared from my videos. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it was a little bit of a weird one. I hope you'll keep an eye out for my November wrap-up for any other new books that I get to read this month or books that I did not talk about in this video. I may start posting 2 videos a week again. I might do one book-related video and 1 K-pop related video to keep it more even. I've been thinking a lot about doing that. I have some videos stored up on K-pop. Keep an eye out for that, and I hope you'll subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this or more K-pop content. I will be back with another video very soon, maybe another one this week. Stay safe out there, guys. Bye!